Hello and welcome to Thursdays with Annette. I'm so glad you're joining me today because I've got my apron on, I'm in the kitchen, I'm excited because I'm going to be making you one of the favourites that people love, and that is the raspberry oat and white chocolate loaf. Now it's out of book 6. This is the big book. It has the 28-day masterclass in as well, so it's not only going to give you recipes, but it's also going to give you daily support for weight loss. And this recipe is so important, we actually put it as the starting photo for the baking. So this is what I'm going to make for you today. But before we get into that, let's talk about the winners from last week's show. I mean, it was our first one back for 2020. Thank you for all supporting me and also helping me with the oregano. That's the right word. We found out. Oregano. That's it, because that's the Australian word, oregano. So thank you everybody for helping me with that. Now the winners who are super excited to be getting book 4 personally signed is Dot Smith, Charisse Gosney, hi there gorgeous, and Anastasia Karabetassos. I hope I got that right. Thank you for being a part of the show with me every week. It's great. So I'll be giving away something later in the show, but for now we're going to be talking about this fabulous baked item, and it's one of those ones that you can freeze it really well. It's just, I don't know, it's just a really delight to have for an afternoon tea or whatever. I mean, any excuse, put the kettle on and have this loaf. Now I've got my oven preheated to 180 degrees fan force, and I've got all my ingredients out, and this is what I like to do. When I'm cooking something, I get everything out. I don't want to be going back and forth to the pantry, you know, and then suddenly go, oh gosh, I forgot the white chocolate. You know what I mean? I've got it all here, so I know I'm good to go. So we're going to have 2 egg whites. We've got 1/3 cup of white sugar. I'm going to put 3/4 teaspoon of bicarb soda in with the little jar of the baby apple, 1/2 cup of skim milk. I've got the vanilla essence, 1/2 teaspoon. There's your white choc bits, that's 1/2 cup. 3/4 cup of rolled oats, so we've got a bit of fibre happening here. You've got 1 cup of frozen raspberries and 1.5 cups of self-raising flour. So let's get cooking. So to start with, we do the egg white and sugar, and this is kind of how I do my baking. Like if you've got doing any of my cakes or muffins or anything like that, I tend to start with beating the egg whites and the sugar. And you might say to me, oh Annette, what are you doing with the egg yolks? That's such a waste. Well, to me, I've just thrown away 12 grams of fat that I didn't need, and you're not going to eat this loaf and say, I love the egg yolk in that, that's fabulous. It's all about low saturated fat. So in goes the sugar, and now we beat that for about a minute on high. Now, if you've just joined me, today's awesome recipe, and 3 people are going to get to win book 6. It's normally a what is it, it's 1995, so it's a great book to win. And I noticed I put the tea towel on the bench, and I think that's a little tip for you because it means it doesn't make as much noise rattling on the bench with the glass bowl. Now when you're baking my way, there are some little yes and no's to do, because if you do it wrong, you're going to have a really tough baked item. Now, if you've ever struggled with it, I'm going to show you how to get around that. So, there's our baby apple. Now, this is in the updated version, so a lot of the times you'll see in the older ones it says 1/2 cup of apple sauce. This is actually around about 1/2 cup equal. So I like that because what it means is I've got the exact amount I need and I don't have any waste. So there goes in, get my little spoon, the bicarb. Now you mix this through. Now if you're a follower, you'll know this is how I do it. I love a bit of applesauce in my baking, and when it frosts, that means the bicarb's been activated. Now if you say you have a reaction to apple, the variation you could have with the, instead of the applesauce, is you could do pear, and that works just as well. So just a little tip there as we go along. All right, so that's in the bin. Now just mix that up, combine that, And now what we do is we add in the skim milk. Got your rolled oats. And it's not the quick, it's the traditional rolled oats. Oh, I've left one of those little chocolates in. All right, so let me get rid of this. In the sink. Now, if you oat white chocolate loaf out of book 6, combine that. I'm going to put in some vanilla essence. I just want half a teaspoon. So when you're doing liquids and you're using my fabulous spoons, just press down on it so it holds the base, and in we go. Easy peasy. And it's interesting because I came up with the idea of the bicarb with the applesauce in book 1. And now I know, I see it in a lot of people's recipes they make up, and I go, oh yes, plagiarise me, why don't you? But I think it's a bit of a compliment. All right, so we're mixing it through. You've got your oats, your white chocolate bits, and your milk. Now we're going to put in the flour. Like, this is so easy to do, hello. Now, what you've got to remember is up until this point, you cannot bugger this up. Well, I don't think you can anyway. Should I have said that, Diane? Diane's laughing at me. Okay, if you mess it up, that's okay. This is when you can really make a mess of it, because what happens with my low-fat recipes, especially the ones that don't have any fat in them, some of the recipes you'll know that updated versions have actually added some of the Floralite margarine to it just to boost them up a bit because they really needed it. But this is where people go wrong, okay? So up until now, the beater, doesn't matter, whatever, but it's once you put that flour in, honey bunny, it's called be careful and gentle, like as if it's a sponge. Just fold it through. You do not use this, hello, no, 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 no. Otherwise, you will get, especially if it's muffins and that, you'll just get rocks. The idea is that you just gently fold that flour through, because there's nothing in here, which is normally the fat, that would protect the gluten in the flour, okay? And that's what happens. So the least moved, the more fabulous your baking will be. So look, I'm just seeing all that flour has mixed through. Stop. No more. Then I'm going to add in the frozen raspberries. Now, if, for example, you have blueberries going at home and no raspberries, what a great swap. I think you can put other frozen fruit in if you wanted to. It's really up to you. But now, once again, gently folding those raspberries through so everyone's getting an even distribution of the raspberries and the white chocolate. Now, this can be frozen as well. So you could do, like if you look here in the variations, I say to you that you can use other frozen fruit. And also, if you wanted to, you could make it, like I'm doing a loaf, but you could do it as muffins as well. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So we're done. Super easy, super fabulous. Remember, this is all about moderation. So it's not about eating the whole loaf to yourself, okay? And it's the raspberry oat and white chocolate loaf out of book 6. So now I'm going to, into the tin. I tend to try and see where the raspberries are so they're not all clumped together. I mean, this is such a treat. And it's really, you only have 1/3 cup of the white sugar in it because you're going to get sweetness enough from the white chocolate. I want to get all them in. Let's put this over in the sink. And then we're going to just spread that out. As I said, 180 degrees fan forced. It's a bit fabulous. And what I do when I have this as a loaf, and I'm thinking, because sometimes it's a really good idea to have a bake day. And this way, this is great for when you need something on the weekend, but you haven't got time, you do it during the week or whatever. There's your loaf. You can cut it into the 12 serves, and wrap them in cling wrap and freeze it. So I'm going to put it in the oven now. Takes about 40 to 45 minutes, depending on your oven. Let's start at 40. There you go. Now, the good thing is with this recipe, as I said to you before, you can make it different ways and you can do it as muffins. Well, I made a batch before because I wanted to show you how fabulous it can be. So here we go, same recipe, and you've got 12 muffins. And look how fantastic they look. And these are great if you're really looking at portion control, because you just get one and you know it's what it is. So the fat count is 2.7, and that's because of the white chocolate in it, but it's worth it. And so it can fit into everyone's healthy program. And I find that the muffins are great for school lunch boxes, and just, you know, cling wrap them, put them in the freezer and pop them out for school. And I mean, with the kids all back at school now and the big kids back at work, this would be a great one. So this is an ideal one for you. Now, if you want to win book 6, what you're going to do is you're going to like the page, you're going to then share it, and then in the comments, please be clear that you have to spell it right. A few people made it a bit wrong last week. You've forgotten over the Christmas break that it's hashtag Symply with a Y, Symply Too Good. Now, if you put that in the comments, I will Now, next week's show, I'm going to be making a salad. I just thought it'd be really fun to do my all-time go-to salad. If ever I've got So instead of making a big batch, you just make it for 2, which I might do that next week. I'll see. Anyway, Asian salad for next week, so stay tuned for that. Now, I am super fizzy excited. My next 6-week weight loss challenge starts on the 2nd of March. Now, 6 weeks of brand new menu plans that I've created, and I think I have excelled myself here. The cooking classes are fun, motivational and educational videos and tips, heaps of support, especially from me, and so much more that you wouldn't believe. So if you're interested in finding out about it, because it starts real soon, go to simplytoogood.com.au. Now click onto the membership tab to find out more, and I'll get Diane to put a link in the comments as well. Now, speaking about Diane, it's a special day in the Simply Too Good to Be True office. Come around, Diane. Everybody, have you met Diane before? Yay! This is my fabulous Diane, and it is her anniversary today of being with us for 8 years. Oh my God, you're amazing.
Thank
and
you.
She's put up with me. I said to her, have you got one deaf ear, because I'm always in it, yakking away. So Diane, how have you coped with me and all the things that I come up with and do and still survive?
Well, my husband probably puts it best. He says to me, that's not a job, you can't call that a job. And I say to him, yes I can, they pay me for it.
Oh, we have so much fun. And of course, Diane's been ironing these off all morning, so you can pick anyone you like, honey, for your afternoon tea. And of course, you know, she has to test it to make sure it's right. So thank you, Diane. And thank you, Diane, for being the best ever. Couldn't do it without her, could I? She's just fabulous. Anyway, guys, it's the end of the show. We'll be back next week. Remember, Asian salad. It's going to be fabulous. If you want any more tips or any recipes or whatever, or find out more about the mentoring program, go to simplytoogood.com.au. See you next week. Bye. Yay.